We're behind. They're all fired up. What we got to do? First place, our defense has got to go out there and take the ball. Then when we get the ball, we got to have 11 people that's going to do their job and try to score every time you get the football. If we do that, we'll be all right. Do that, we'll be all right.
Welcome, everybody, to Football University. It's Monday, and it's game week. We finally made it game week. I'm so excited. It seems like it's been forever. We've been talking off season for the past, feels like a year, but we made it. It's game week. So RTR, this is Football University with me, Matt Caddell, where we talk anything and everything football related. And I try to be a professor of football, and we bring it back to the University of Alabama. To me, the number one program. But listen, it is what it is. It is game week. As you can see, I'm just so excited. We're here at CTS Sports Room. It is game week, MTSU week. A lot of people are saying MTSU hate week. We just got to be ready. It's going to be so interesting to see. So let's shouts out to the student section. Jeff Stapleton, RTR, William Bryant, RTR. Jeff Stapleton said, it's about time for some football. It is. It is time for some football. Shouts out to Justin Summerlin. He makes a great comment. He says, it's time Alabama to bring joyless murder ball coming you. You will fear us. Listen, let's dive right into it. I mean, it's week one, game one. Hit that like, subscribe button, everybody. I mean, tell somebody, we're going to be here all season. We're going to discuss everything. Alabama week one, MTSU, kind of what we want to see, what Coach Saban wants to see, things he did today. What are your expectations? Score predictions, put them in the student section. We're going to make it happen. So, we're going to discuss MTSU, Bama in the NFL. We'll kind of round that out towards the end. We're going to talk some NCAA news with the ACC. So we're going to talk it all here at Football University because this is the University of Football. So like I said, it is game week one. As you can see, my excitement is through the roof. Listen, this MTSU team is no joke. I think we probably couldn't have had a better opponent with bringing in a new coordinator, new quarterback on offense and defense. But this MTSU team is no joke. They bring a lot of experience. They won 8 games last year. They beat Miami in Miami. I'm going to discuss that dynamic about how I think this is a revenge game for coach, defensive coordinator Kevin Steele. He was on that Miami staff last year when they lost to Middle Tennessee State. So I think he's got a lot to prove. I think he's got more talent. But listen, I think that just bodes well for our defense, how to scheme this offense. But MTSU, led by Rick Stockhill, he's kind of a veteran coach. MTSU always plays Alabama tough. I remember being recruited back in the day. They had Adore Hicks running back. They almost beat Alabama. So listen, this MTSU team is pretty good. I do think Alabama wins the game, but I don't know if it's going to be, just an initial blowout coming out of the gate. I think we're going to, try to find ourselves, see, kind of create an identity. And let's talk about creating an identity. Coach Saban had his press conference today. The big news today, everybody was waiting on Coach Saban to release a depth chart. And guess what? He did not release a depth chart, which I thought, me personally, I really like it. I like the, I guess more playing. It's more of a strategic approach. He did say he didn't want to release a depth chart because he knows it brings distractions to the players. And Coach Saban is all about focus. And this is the Coach Saban that I've been wanting to see. You know, more of a militant Coach Saban, more of a Coach Saban that's all about his team, his players, his guys being focused. We're going to get into some of the rat poison news. But yeah, Coach Saban did not release a depth chart, but I do think Milroe is going to get the start in the QB race. I did say last week that I do think that Alabama might play 3 quarterbacks, maybe 4. You know, I don't know. It just depends on how the flow of the game goes. But this MTSU, Middle Tennessee State team is no joke. Is it going to be important? I know Coach Saban said another thing. He didn't release the depth chart, but, you know, they asked him, you know, how do you feel about the offensive line? You know, everybody's raving about the offensive line, Josh Pate, Kirk Herbstreit, all these guys are raving about Alabama's offensive line, but a lot of guys have been talking about being physical. Now it's time to actually be physical and go out there and, create an identity. I think with Tommy Rees, Kevin Steele, we're going to be physical on both ends of the ball. And I'm excited about that. So I think Coach Saban is really putting it on the players to listen. Coach Saban has cryptic messages. People think he's the media. He's actually talking to his players of his team, getting them in the right mindset. And this is the Coach Saban that I kind of want to see, that focus on the team. Don't really care about the media. Don't really care about what others are saying. Just really focus on the team. So let's take a pause right there. Let's get to the student section. We got a couple RTRs. Shouts out to Dory Caddell in the building. Great point right here. Justice Summers says, I think we're going to dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Yeah, and I think to my point I just mentioned, it's up to the players. Like, it's time to prove yourself now. We've been working, hitting each other, being a former player, coming out of camp. You can't wait for this week 1 matchup. You finally get to play another opponent, playing in Bryant-Denny under the lights. I mean, it's gonna be a great game, great atmosphere. So Saturday night, everybody's so excited. It's game week. But I will say, knowing that teams are coming to Alabama, most teams always bring their A game versus Alabama. So this MTSU team, they're kind of used to being the underdog, coming in with that underdog mentality, having to prove themselves. And these guys aren't going to be scared because, like I said, they beat Miami in Miami. Yes, it was Miami, but listen, they beat Miami in Miami last year. They won 8 games. They won their bowl game. This team is going to come in hungry, and they present a lot of challenges for us, especially us bringing in a new offensive coordinator. Defensive coordinator, I think the defense will be fine, but with their no huddle, the different sets that they like to go fastball sometimes they'll slow it. It's going to be important that communication is key for us. And I think we're going to have the guys with Kevin Steele schematically, to your point, Justin, we're going to have the guys put pressure on the quarterback with our scheme. So it's going to be exciting. And speaking of defense, I want to talk about Kevin Steele. Coach Steele was a defensive coordinator at Miami last year when they lost to Middle Tennessee State in Miami last year. So I think it's important that, I think this game is important for Kevin Steele. I think he's looking to kind of have some type of revenge factor, prove himself, set the tone for the season versus Middle Tennessee State, the Blue Raiders, I believe, because listen, what they do offensively presents a lot of challenges. So it's going to be interesting to see, how we, schematically, how we handle the no huddle. I think we're probably being a lot more man. I think we're going to mix up coverages, but at the same time, I think we're going to be vanilla defensively, because I think we're still got to be strategic, getting ready for Texas week 2. We want to win the game. We want to be dominant, come out healthy, but I don't think we want to show all our cards versus Middle Tennessee State. And I think to that point, I think Kevin Steele is looking to put up a dominant game plan versus Middle Tennessee State with our, front seven dominating the line of scrimmage in our secondary. You look at all the talent that we have, we're going to mix. I think we're just going to be versatile, but simple and effective on the defensive end. So I wanted to kind of discuss that about Kevin Steele, his approach going and against Middle Tennessee State, but on the Crimson Tide team. So let's get in the student section. I know y'all are rocking and rolling. Listen, Justin Summerlin said it's time to show up. Like, listen, the hay is in the barn. It's time to refine. We don't need to be going out. It's time to prove ourselves. The time is now. So I need Alabama to go out there and prove themselves and not get caught up in all the rat poison, what Coach Saban likes to say. Because, everybody's picking Alabama to win, even though we're ranked so far behind. But listen, it's going to be with that. We can't get caught up in the rat poison or listen to what the outside noise. At the end of the day, we got to have the mentality to continue to get better and not be satisfied week in and week out. And I think if we have that approach, always finding something for improvement, always staying hungry, always staying, humble and not getting too, ahead of ourselves, I think we will be fine. So, but yeah, things I want to get to my next topic regarding MTSU. I talked about them being a really difficult opponent. I talked about their offense. Sneaky news came out, about today. Mike Rodek tweeted, let's go to this question. Well, I'll talk about this real quick before I go to this question. Mike Rodek tweeted, and I think it was very interesting to see, what type of, how, I just mentioned having 2 new coordinators, Tommy Rees, Kevin Steele, how the dynamics were going to be with them. Are they going to be on the sideline or are they going to be on the press box? News broke today that they're both going to be in the press box, and I think that gives us advantages from coordinator position. They're able to see the game, from the eye in the sky. I think they're able to pick up on tendencies. I think they're able to see the field a lot more. I know Tommy Rees and Kevin Steele both being in the box. I think you have the assistant coaches on the sideline to give that energy, the enthusiasm, and really set the tone on the sideline, getting the plays in. So, I'm excited, but I'm glad to see our coordinators, kind of in the box. I think that's what they're kind of able to kind of zone out, tune everybody out, and just kind of have their game plan, look at their notes. The only 2 coordinators that I know that could really do it from the sideline are Sark and Lane. I feel like those 2 are like they're in their own realm. But yeah, I'm glad to see that our coordinators are in the box. So let's get to this great comment right here. As from Lori Caddell, shouts out to Lori Caddell. She says, as a former player, what is your advice to new players on how to prepare for the first game? One thing I think is very important for young players, to keep everything, keep that same confidence level that you had in high school, where you were the best player on the field. I think you still have to have that mindset, even in the collegiate game, even at the University of Alabama, even playing your first game. But I think it all goes back to preparation. If you prepare poorly, you're going to play poorly. But if you prepare, you put in the time, you do everything that you can, you're able to go out there and execute and play with confidence and fly around. Just go out there and execute and have fun. Like, it's still football. At the end of the day, you're going to be so zoned in, focused on your assignment in the play. Don't get distracted by the crowds or any of those external factors. You got to have mental focus. That's what some things Coach Saban always points out, having that mental focus, having that, each play has its own history, making sure you're doing your job to the best ability. If you do those things and focus, put in the preparation, go out there and execute, and most importantly, have fun. If you have fun, go out there, you get to hit another opponent. Like, it's the best feeling ever. So that's my advice. I would tell, young kids, continue to have that type of confidence in yourself. But at the collegiate level, you guys will go back to the preparation. That way you can prepare and be even that much more confident and continue to get a feel for the game. I try to tell guys, to play special teams, like try to get on that field because I feel like the better you play on special teams, the better it's going to help you offensively or defensively. You're going to have a better feel of the game. The juices are going to be flowing. So when you go out there and play offensively or defensively, all thing it's going to do is it's going to motivate you. So yeah, we got Justin Summerlin says, so Kevin Steele is going to be in the press box too. Yes, from what I've read today, that Kevin Steele is going to be in the press box too. I actually like it. I just think coordinators, they need to be able to see it. And I told you the outliers are Sark and Lane Kiffin. They're kind of the type that want to be on the field. But I think with Tommy Rees, he's able to see, what defenses are going to do. How he's been in the box when he was at Notre Dame. So if he's been in the box, let him do what he wants to do. Continue to let him cook. And I think Kevin Steele, he's versatile. He can go box or field. But I like it when they're in the box because they're able to focus and see the game, see the tendencies, see what defenses or offenses are trying to do, what the opponent's trying to do. They can see players, see what guys aren't doing or what guys are doing. What can we do, in the meantime? So I'm excited about seeing those guys in the box. I think it's going to be a good system. I think you were going to see a lot of communication from our quarterback to Tommy Rees every time, whoever the quarterback, like I said, I think it's going to be Milroe. I think he's going to come off the sideline. I think it's important we continue to have, he gets on the phone or gets on the headset, talk to the OC and just be in his head, tells him what he likes to see, and all that good stuff. So speaking of Milroe, speaking of our offense, I think it's important for Milroe to, I've said this time and time again. Coach Saban has raved about Milroe today. He said he's more confident in the pocket, and he's, more confident in the pocket and more confident, running the offense. And I think it's important that Milroe goes out there and, go out there and execute. And my biggest thing for Milroe is, making sure that he plays, have the game slow down for him, but make sure he has the preparation. You look at a Bryce, he learned from Bryce Young. Bryce was just prepared to new levels. So I hope that he's able to, carry that, what he learned from Bryce about having the preparation, but going out there and executing. I think most important thing, playing with confidence, flying the ball. My biggest thing with Milroe, I need him to have ball security, ball security, ball security. Hold on to the ball, 2 balls, distribute the balls out, get them to our playmakers. Don't turn the ball over, have confidence in the pocket. But I think this is a good test for us. I think we could have had, with what MTSU likes to do, and you heard Coach Saban mention, they do a lot of blitzes. They put a lot of pressure on the secondary. They do a lot of turnovers, so they're always going after the ball. Like, they're a big play defense. But you heard one key thing Coach Saban mentioned, it's going to be patience. So I think it's going to be patience for Alabama's offense. We're going to try, I think MTSU is going to actually try to load the box. I think they're very aggressive at the safety position. They don't know who's the quarterback is going to be. So I think they're going to take that and say, hey, we're going to load the box and see what Milroe's going to do. They're going to bring blitzes. They're going to try to rattle Milroe. And so I think this is a great test for our quarterback. So I think it's important that, listen, Milroe needs to be prepared. All our quarterbacks need to be prepared. Get ready for these blitzes. Get ready for these tendencies because they're going to roll a wrinkle out there. So you need to be on your game, what you're seeing, how poised, don't get rattled, don't turn the ball over. If it's not there, you always got your legs. At the end of the day, make a play. You can go out there and make plays. So listen, this MTSU, I think this is a good challenge. A lot of people are going to say it's going to be a blowout, but I think it's going to be just a good solid game for us week one. It won't be. I don't think it's going to be like an 80-something to 0 game. I think Alabama's a 40-something point favorite. But I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that, just because we're bringing in so many nuances, and I still think we're gonna be vanilla because we got Texas coming up the next week. So that's my 2 cents. But so let's stay in the student section. William Bryan says, I love our coordinator as long as they don't wear his hat cap backwards. I mean, that was Bill O'Brien last year. It was just not a good look, but I think we're not even gonna focus on last year. Let's focus on 2023. I think we got because Saban made the right hires. Versus for us with Tommy Reese and Kevin Steele. Sweet Home Bama 22 has a great comment right here. He says, looking forward to seeing the O-line dominate MTSU defensive line. Run the ball critical when they play Texas. Yeah, I think it's going to important. Like I said, I think it's going to be a vanilla game plan. I think Sark's going to have a vanilla game plan kind of versus, I don't know who Texas plays week one. But I think it's going to be a vanilla, but it's going to be a good enough game plan where we can be effective and efficient and win the game. But from like I said earlier, what I'm looking for from my quarterbacks, Milrow, like ball security, confidence, preparation, knowing MTSU going to throw different kind of blitzes out there from different areas. So, it's going to be patient. I think it's important that we live in a right now society that people are going to say, oh, it's week one. We didn't look all that great or whatever. No, it's football season. This is what we do. It takes the time, because Saban talked about baking that cake. We're still baking the cake even past week one. So, for me, I just want our players to get in the right play, especially our quarterback, get us in the right play, get us in the right fronts from blitzes, all that type of stuff. And then once you know what they're doing, sky's the limit. Go out there and have fun. So, I'm looking forward for our offensive line just to run the ball, be physical, pound the rock, and just be dominant and, get ready and just be dominant all year. So, we got a couple of Roll Tides, RTR, Bama Nation in the house. So, listen, Jeff Stapleton had a great comment, great question. He said, man, I asked a question last week. Is the defense so aggressive that the offense has trouble making plays? I think aggressive is a great, term to use regarding our defense. I don't think the quarterback play has been bad. I just think the quarterbacks are going against the top defense that they probably will see all year, each day, every day at practice, whether it's 7-on-7, inside drill, 11-on-11, they're seeing the top defense. You look at Kool-Aid, you look at Jaden Key, you look at Jaheim Otis, you look at Deontay Lawson. Like, we got Dallas Turner, we got talent all across the defensive side of the ball. So I think that's just going to help make our offensive, be that much more confidence. As iron sharpens irons, it's in the good book. So I think this is one of the top defenses that our team will see, our offensive team will see all year. So I think that's what's going to help our offense progress, having to go against such a great defense week in and week out. So by the time they get to the field on Saturday playing another opponent, they'll be like, listen, I'm used to going against, Kool-Aid at corner or, Dallas Turner coming off the edge. It's going to be that type of confidence. So I hope they go out there and execute. So execute, have fun. I think that's the most important thing. Have fun and play with confidence, man. If you know what to do, fly around and have fun. Because at the end of the day, it is football. You get to play for the Alabama Crimson Tide. It doesn't get any better than that. So let's stay in the student section. Y'all are rolling. Stephen Hicks says, new team, new attitude. I agree. New team, new attitude. We're not even thinking about last year, the debacle last year. Even though people saying the dynasty is over. I mean, we only lost 2 games, and we lost them by the last play of the game. And, I think what I want to see another thing from this team is the discipline. I think we had way too many penalties. We were playing undisciplined style of football. But I think with like I said, Coach Saban having the leadership of his coordinators, him being, kind of being the militant Saban, staying on these guys. If we have that discipline, that self-discipline, and we have that self-leadership where guys are just flying around and making plays offensively and defensively, I think that's just going to go to your point, Stephen Hicks, so having that new attitude, having that new mindset. And I think we've been humbled. Everybody talked bad about us last year, and I think Coach Saban's using that to really instill these guys. Listen, this is nobody believes in you. If they do, if they're speaking highly of you, it's all rat poison, whatever. You need to believe in yourself. You need to create your own identity. You need to stay hungry. You need to have that not satisfied mentality all year, no matter how dominant we are. So I think that's what the biggest thing Coach Saban is going to get across with this new team, new attitude, new coordinators, new players. So I'm excited to see this team play. So listen, Thelma Surnar says, listen, Roll Tide, Alabama going all the way. Yeah, I think Alabama's going all the way, but we got to take it one game at a time. Like, to your point, like I just mentioned, we got to take it one game at a time and just focus on MTSU. Right now, MTSU's next up, and so we got to go out there and dominate MTSU. So I talked about Coach Saban. We discussed, game one, what I'm looking for offensively, defensively. I kind of discussed score predictions. I think it maybe be like a 40 to maybe 14 score. I don't know. Give me your score predictions in the student section. But like I said, I think the game plan is going to be very vanilla. I think it's important that with this type of team, because they're such a big play team defensively or offensively, we're going to have to kind of have a little bit more patience to really get a hold of the game of what they're trying to do, getting hold of their tendencies or what they're trying to do offensively, defensively in certain situations, certain sets. So it's going to be interesting once we get a hold of the game plan, how we're going to make it happen. So, so it's going to be interesting to see. I think Alabama is going to be. I discussed what I want to see from the quarterback, Milroe. I want to see ball security, confidence, poise. I think third down efficiency. My thing is getting us in the right play. Having you're the leader of the offense. Like it's time to just stay focused. Focus on MTSU. But yeah, third down efficiency is going to be key. I think if we know how to get into the right play, get into the right scheme, know what they're trying to do, because I think MTSU is going to present a lot of different type of blitzes. I think they're going to try to stack the box. I don't see them playing off, with the new coordinator. Maybe if Bryce was coming back, maybe they knew who the quarterback was, but I don't see them. I don't see them trying to. I actually see them coming in with the mindset, oh, we're the underdogs. We went into Miami last year. We're going to try to shock the world this year. And I think they're going to try to stack the box. They're going to present a lot of blitzes that we haven't seen on film, and try to rattle our quarterback. But I think that's important that you have, a good offensive coordinator, a good scheme running the ball, to kind of offset that 8-man front. You got tight ends. You get good quick throws. Work the middle of the field, work the seams. If they stack the box and they go man or they go off, we could easily run, quick, passes on the sideline outside the hashes, to kind of soften them up. And then once they see, hey, okay, he's passing the ball, then we can do whatever we want. Sky's the limit. And so that's why I think having a good offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees, guy who can simplify the game, make the guy fun. He's such a crafty out schemer, knowing how to scheme up defenses. I think it's going to be important to see, how our coordinators make in-game adjustments. Like I said, I think Middle Tennessee State is going to present a lot of challenges. That's why I think this is a great opponent for week one, because, they're, it's not like a directional school where, you playing, East Nova, Idaho University, but this team, like I said, they beat Miami last year. They won 8 games. They won their bowl game. They're going to come in hungry and ready to prove themselves. And so I'm quite sure they have a lot of wrinkles, and what better way to show those wrinkles versus Alabama, which I think is going to just help pay dividends for us on down the road. So I'm excited. But yeah, I just want to see also our coordinators, how they make in-game adjustments with this new staff. Seeing what the defense is trying to do by that second drive, I think great coordinators, know what the defense is trying to do in certain sets, certain situations, and they know how to play off that. So, know how to make those adjustments. So I'm excited to see our coordinators make in-games adjustments. So let's go to the student section. Y'all are rocking and rolling. Excuse me. Yeah, mean attitude. Yeah, I think Alabama's, listen, they've been humbled. And Alabama, I think Coach Saban has utilized that in the offseason, to kind of fuel the fire for these guys and keep these guys, humble but hungry at the same time. So I'm interested to see. So Icebox, shouts out to Icebox. Icebox got a great comment right here. Question says, what takes longer to gel, offense or defense? I always think defense is a little bit more easier to gel because it's more of a react. They're just, see ball, get ball. They have a little bit more continuity. Whereas the offense, especially bringing in a new coordinator and having new quarterbacks, I think it might take a little bit of time to kind of, just to get, especially going against the MTSU team, who's probably going to present a lot of challenges, a lot of different nuances that I think is just going to help us in the long run, on down the road, seeing different types of blitzes, different types of pressures. But I think once the offense, like I said, after that second drive, kind of that first drive, second drive, I think you're going to see, a really gelled offense that's really going to be ready to move forward and be an effective offense moving forward. So I would answer your question, Icebox. I would say I think the offense, especially when you bring in a new OC and new coordinator, might take a little bit longer to gel. But the gel is there. It's just being able to gel versus a different opponent, especially when a different opponent is giving you, different blitzes, different fronts. It's the first game of the year. They're going to have a lot of wrinkles from what they've done on game film, but a lot of stuff's going to be, kind of the tendencies are kind of going to be the same. I think they're returning their coordinator, so it's going to be a good challenge week 1. So I think I got my score prediction, Alabama 40. I'm going to say MTSU to 15. I'll give them 14. I'll give it that. So let's stay in the student section. Y'all are rocking and rolling. I addressed this earlier. Excuse me. Will Tommy Reese be on the sideline or in the box? Tommy Reese will be in the box. I kind of opened up saying that I kind of like how our coordinators will be, from what I saw, they're in the box. I know Tommy Reese was in the box at Notre Dame. Viral video of him, chewing out the quarterback last year for Notre Dame because I guess he wasn't running the plays. And from what I saw today, I think both coordinators are gonna be in the box. Me personally, I like that because they can just focus on the game film, or they can see what personnel groupings they can see. We know what they can just see the whole field, what teams are trying to do to their offense or defense, and I think that just bodes well for us. So I think he's gonna be in the box. Saban knows the team is ready to bring the pain. I think so too. I think he's ready to go out there, and make, prove himself. I think it was a rough year for not only Coach Saban, but I mentioned the team. But I feel like, when everything's not going right, it shows what type of character. Alabama was able to beat Kansas State. We had guys coming back. Will Anderson, Bryce Young, who we'll discuss later, those guys showing that leadership. But I think, you hear it from Feinbaum, David Pollock, him being at that Georgia National Championship game. Pollock saying, you got to admit that Georgia's the top program in the country. I think that just lit an internal fire in Coach Saban, which I've been waiting to see. I've been wanting to see the militant chewing you out, Coach Saban, throwing the headset out. That's the Saban I like to see. I think that just helps the identity of our team. Having that type of mentality. I think that once it starts at the top, it just goes to your coaches, then it goes to your players. So, listen, I'm excited about Alabama bringing the pain this year in 2023. It's going to be interesting on this. A lot of people saying they want them on the sidelines. I mean, I don't know. I could see how y'all might want them in the sideline. Me personally, if it's only coordinators that I wanted on the sidelines were only Sark and Lane, I just felt like they were just kind of sideline coaches, or they had a system in place for the guys to be up top. Regardless, you have to have somebody to see the field from up top, from the box. And I don't know what system they had, but I like having the coordinators in the box because they can just see the game. It's like, they can see the holistic view of what teams are trying to do, personnel groupings, everything. So they're kind of already in their bag. They can just see, simplify, call the game, get the play down, and make it happen. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. So Coach Saban hasn't scored with David Pollock and Paul Flambeer as Finebaum. Listen, everybody, Finebaum, I said it here before. I think he's just, with that momentum of Tennessee winning and being the beating Alabama. I just think that just shows you Paul showing you that he's a true Vol fan. And, Vols, they beat us last year. So he's got every right to see how, say what he wants to say or feel how he wants to feel. He's not, he's probably saying the dynasty is over. I think he's got Alabama picked to lose 2 or 3 games, which I don't see. But, it is what it is. I think Coach Saban is not focused on those guys. I think Coach Saban is focused on the team, focused on his staff, and them and getting these guys being the best, playing and executing the best that they can. And it starts with practice. It starts with preparation. So I think that's where Coach Saban's focus will be. And I love to hear Coach Saban when he's all about the team and the players. That's the Saban I want to hear. So I used to see it. So I'm excited. So let's stay in the Sioux section, y'all. Like I said, Sark and Lane Kiffin were, to me, the outliers. These guys were just offensive gurus. Like, they just knew the feel of the game. I think, Lane was just always looking at the secondary, looking at the corners where he can throw a deep ball, those type of thing. And I think Sark was just one of those. I think those two are the outliers when it comes to being on the sidelines. But listen, we have Pete Golden on the sideline, and he did not have one clue. So to your point, I think it's, like I said, new team, new attitude. Me personally, I'm kind of glad our coordinators are in the box because they can just see the field, focus on what they need to do, chew out who they need to chew out, talk to who they need to talk to. I think they're going to have a good system, getting plays in, getting information back quickly, and they're able to make their adjustments in game by seeing the field. So from the box. So that's just my 2 cents. Justin Summerlin says, need them on the sidelines of fire. I mean, I think that's what we have the assistant coaches there for. I think, you got Coach Saban on the sideline. That's the most important motivator on the sideline. You got Holloman Wiggins, you got Freddie Roach, you got Holzer, you got Gillespie. I think you got a lot of coaches that bring a lot of juice on the sideline. That's going to be keeping the guys going. But yeah, I mean, I think it's benefits to, being in the box as well as being on the sideline. Me personally, I just think what Tommy Rees likes to do, he likes to be in the box. It varies for different coaches. So I don't think it's a perfect way. But for me personally, my little experience coaching, if I'm calling plays, I kind of need to be in the box. That way I can just see what the defense is doing, or off defensively, I need to see how I need to game plan. It just makes it easier knowing what the offense or defense are trying to see, because you can actually see it from a high level. So that's just my 2 cents. So RTR, oh, Justice Summerlin says, Farm John changed his mind. He now says Alabama will win the SEC. Listen, it is all rat poison. I know everybody's wants Alabama's kind of the underrated cool pick right now to say, but listen, do not sleep on LSU. I think LSU is going to make a lot of noise this year, and they got a big week 1 game versus Florida State, I believe Thursday night. I believe it might not be Thursday, but listen, if I think Utah plays Florida Thursday night, and but listen, that Florida State LSU game, I like. Listen, Florida State, I think they're going to be probably the top 2 teams, them and Clemson, coming out of the ACC. This LSU Florida State game, I think I'm gonna roll with LSU. Like, I'm gonna roll with the SEC teams at the end of the day. I know most SEC teams don't want to pull for Bama, but it is what it is. But I got to pull for the conference. But that's what we do here at Football University. But listen, Jane Daniels, Brian Kelly, what they like to do, they're going to be a tough out. And I think everybody's picking Alabama, but I think it's a couple teams in the SEC West that nobody's really talking about. LSU, for instance, LSU can easily win the SEC West. They won it last year. They beat Alabama. They're returning their quarterback. They're returning a lot of offensive firepower, a lot of defensive firepower down there in Baton Rouge. So they're going to, like I said, I think the SEC West is always that much better when Alabama and LSU are kind of the top 2 teams. Another team that nobody's talking about is Arkansas. Woo Pig Sooie, KJ Jefferson, Sam Pittman. Listen, they are returning a lot of experience. Browse, the offensive coordinator. Listen, do not sleep on Arkansas. I can see them presenting a lot of challenges in the SEC West. Obviously, Jimbo down at Texas A&M. But listen, you got Hugh Freeze at Auburn. We got to go to Jordan Hare. That's always a challenge. So listen, but I think, a lot of people aren't talking about Arkansas, and I don't think LSU is getting enough love that they could easily win the SEC West. Me personally, I think Alabama probably going to have to play LSU twice. I think they'll play them in the college football playoff. Again, I think we get 2 SEC teams in the SEC, in the college football playoff. I don't see the Big Ten possibly getting 2 teams. I think Michigan's schedule is really soft. Ohio State, their 2 biggest games are Penn State and Michigan. So I think one of them gets in. But Penn State, listen, if there is a 2 Big Ten teams, I can see maybe Penn State, but I just think the Big Ten is going to get 1. I think the SEC probably have 2, and I think it's going to come from the SEC West, LSU and Alabama. That's just my 2 cents here at Football University. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. So Stephen Hicks says, Feinbaum is bandwagon and knows Bama is coming. Yeah. Listen, go. Funny comment right here. Joseph said, Golden was in Neverland with Bill, too, of the Sorry's OCs. Listen, they had no clue. And like football, with all this talent, I never understood why we were making it so difficult. Like, it was like Pete Golden had no clue. He was running the same cover 2 shell every play, not making any adjustments, especially versus the Tennessee game. I mean, I think we have so much talent that football, you just be creative and let these guys play. So it's going to be interesting to see. So, yeah, going back to the FSU, we got some interesting games. So let's pause. Let's get to week 1. So I mentioned FSU, they play LSU on Sunday night in Baton Rouge. Listen, I actually I'm trying to pull it up. Sorry. Actually, I like LSU that game. I think that's going to be a sneaky game, but don't sleep on Florida State. Like I said, Florida State, they're going to be one of the top two teams out the ACC. I think it's going to come down to them and Clemson in the ACC. Another big week one matchup, South Carolina versus North Carolina. You know, North Carolina have Drake May. They're probably going to be on a little emotional roller coaster this week. Having, I think today it was like a mass shooter at the school today or something like that. So you never know how that emotion plays into them. So I got South Carolina. Like I said, I'm pulling for all the SEC schools, especially week one. But that's another ACC SEC matchup. Like I said, the SEC East, I think it's a three-headed race. If South Carolina beats North Carolina, Drake May and all those guys, the talent, he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks coming out this year, going into the draft. Him, supposedly Bo Nix, Caleb Williams. And you never know. It could be Jalen Milroy. You never know how this thing could shake up. I like South Carolina versus North Carolina. I think the leadership of Shane Beamer, Spencer Rattler, that's going to be a good matchup. Florida versus Utah. Florida's got to go to Utah. I don't know who Florida's quarterback. I don't know enough about Florida. I don't think Florida's going to be that great this year. Me personally, led under the leadership of Billy Napier, I actually like Utah over Florida in that matchup, just because they're playing in Utah, and Utah is one of those teams that are in the Pac-12 or the former Pac-12, which is the Pac-4 now. That they're always hungry. You know, they usually beat USC, Oregon, all those teams. So Utah, they're going to be a tough out as well. I mentioned Clemson. Clemson plays Duke. I think Clemson's going to watch Duke with Dabo Swinney, Garrett Riley as the OC. You know what they're trying to do offensively, and I think Boise State playing Washington. I don't know enough about Boise State, Washington, but for me, like I said, I got LSU over Florida State, South Carolina over North Carolina, got Utah beating Florida, and I got Clemson beating Duke. So that's my week one slate here at Football University, because that's what we do. So let's go back. Stephen Hicks says, man, I'm pulling for FSU. Dang those Cajuns. I get it. I get it. It's gonna be interesting to see. Like it's hard for me, but it's listen, going if it was a neutral site game, I get it. But I think them going to Baton Rouge, I don't know if it's still a neutral site game. If it's in Baton Rouge, it's gonna be hard to play a night game in Baton Rouge with the experience that they have. Coming from Brian Kelly, coming under year two, Jay Daniels, and I think nobody's really giving LSU their credit. I think they're a tough team this year. So shouts out to Icebox giving me a great comment about that doesn't fire you up for the season from you, that you're not a true fan. Great comment right here. LSU has no secondary. FSU's wide receivers tear LSU up. I don't know. It's hard for me to say with all the talent in the state of Louisiana, the transfer portal. I know we were able to snag some guys. I think, listen, Florida State receivers, they made plays last year. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. But I don't want to say LSU has no talent in the secondary. I mean, it's the SEC. They're going to have some talent. But they got Perkins at that front seven. I mean, Mason Smith, I don't think he's playing week one, but they're going to have a lot of talent. So it's going to be an interesting game. So I'm just fired up for college football. We finally made it. So I'm so excited. Yeah, to your point, I want all the teams to get better. So when Alabama beats it, just, we beat them. It just shows you how great Alabama is. So y'all are rocking. Justin Summerlin said it's in Jacksonville. Oh, wow. That's going to be interesting to see. Neutral site game, Florida State, LSU. Ooh, that could be a tricky game. I played in Jacksonville. We played Florida State my senior year, Coach Saban's first year. That's going to be interesting. Man, it's hard for me to see LSU drop. If LSU drops that first game, and that's going to be tough hole for them to dig out, especially if they're trying to get to the national championship, because that puts a lot of momentum in the ACC. Especially Florida State getting into the college football playoff. Um, so, wow, everybody's saying LSU is going to lose to FSU. Wow, I mean, I'm rolling with the SEC team. I'm rolling with the SEC team, but it's going to be interesting to see. We got a few score predictions. A lot of people saying 35, 38, 14, Middle Tennessee State. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm pulling for everyone that beats LSU, Tennessee, Georgia, and Auburn. I don't even know who Auburn plays week 1. So, I mean, who cares? I mean, it's all about Alabama. And plus, all Auburn fans care about is Alabama anyway. So, UGA, they don't play anybody. I think UGA, they don't play tough teams like week November and like to November. So, it's going to be interesting to see. But a lot of LSU people saying they're going to lose to FSU. Wow, I'm shocked. I am super shocked. B. Jammett has a great comment. He's like, listen, Alabama runs that regular season gauntlet. They will be more ready for the SEC championship this year. And listen, I want Georgia to hold their end of the bargain because I want to play Georgia in the SEC championship. That way we can finally, I feel like we got a lot of steam to let off. I mean, us losing them in the national championship, them winning back-to-back national championships. I think it's only one way to sell the score. But in Atlanta, Georgia for the SEC championship, the conference formerly as relevant. Stephen Hicks already shots fired at Bama and UGA. Now that's the score I want when we play the Dogs in the SEC championship. Let's put up 70 versus the Dogs for sure. Stephen Hicks says I want Bama to drop 63 on Tennessee. I mean, us having to lose to Tennessee and them playing Dixieland Delight and some iffy calls and listen, I want us to put up 100 points versus Tennessee and let them know we're still back. We're still back dominant. Oh, got a couple scores in him. Justin Summerlin says Alabama 38, MTSU 10. I think that's a pretty good, game. Mr. Jones says Alabama 48-3. Listen, that I mean, I see a 40 burger, but I think we're saving those 40 burgers for on down the road. But I mean, if we do put up a 40 burger, I would not complain. I just don't want Alabama to peak too soon. I think it's important we continue to improve throughout the season. Again, Georgia's got that cupcake schedule. That's one thing they don't want to talk about, how the SEC continues the baby and coddle Georgia's schedule. Texas A&M has been in the SEC for, 5-6 years now? Georgia still has not traveled to College Station. What is it about the SEC offices that they're trying to, baby Georgia? I don't know why they do that. So, we got Georgia fans in the building. Shots fired. He says, "I see Georgia's on y'all mind." Listen, we're just stating the facts. Like, I'm just saying, I want Georgia to handle their business. That way, we can play them in Atlanta because I feel like it's been 2 years. But listen, to my point, I still think Georgia has a bit of a easy schedule. Like their schedule is a really cupcake. They have no tough games in September, October. Most of their tough games come the end of October, November. I mean, I get it, but that's not how most of the SEC other schedules work. But it is what it is. But I want Alabama to go through that toughness or to make it tough. So I want LSU to win and stay ranked high. So when Bama rolls all over them, it'll be even sweeter. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm pulling for the SEC teams to win. Only SEC team I don't see winning is Florida. I don't see them beating Utah. I don't know anything about Florida. I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. It's going to be interesting to see. Oh, Georgia fans says, see y'all in December. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, I just want Alabama to handle business in the West, beat LSU. And I need Georgia to handle business in the East. Whatever, regardless of cupcake schedule. I just want to beat y'all in Atlanta for the SEC championship, and then we can, let the best team win. That's all I care about. But shouts out to the Dogs fans in here, listen, Dogs fans and the Bama fans always find a way, but I did not hear about the Auburn party that got busted, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. So we got a few minutes before we end the show. I got a few more comments I want to discuss. So we discussed the schedule, Rat Poison, Coach Steele versus MTSU, Week 1 matchups, depth chart not being released. I want to kind of transition. I want to transition to the NFL. NFL season's about to start. Listen, Bryce Young, he threw a touchdown looking pretty decent for the Carolina Panthers. I still think they need to solidify that offensive line but Bryce Young, I want to bring up this stat. Out of all the rookies between him, Anthony Richardson, and C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young still had a higher completion percentage. He was like at 87%, whereas C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson are like at 40, 50%, 60%. So, listen, Bryce Young, he just looks like elite NFL. Big news, Josh Jacobs coming back. He signed his 1-year deal with the Raiders. I still think if you heard Mark Ingram, shouts out to Mark Ingram. He's going to be on NFL Fox College Football Kickoff, replacing Reggie Bush. But, he had kind of a state of the running back on TV last night saying it's wrong how the GMs are doing the running backs market, just giving these guys 1-year deals. If it was any other position you played on what you've done and your potential, these guys, you look at quarterbacks that get 4-year, 5-year deals, DBs, D linemen, receivers, offensive line. So I just think, me personally, you need to play the running backs earlier. You look at Najee Harris, go ahead and extend him, get him off that rookie deal. Now, try to go ahead and extend him. Don't wait to year 4 or 5. Go ahead and extend him right now. That's my 2 cents about. I want to talk about Josh Jacobs. Another sneaky news, the ACC. So we talked about the formerly Pac-12. The ACC is thinking about acquiring California's Stanford and I believe SMU, which is shocking. So how's that going to be? It's just a weird state of college football right now outside of the SEC. I mean, USC, UCLA are going to the Big Ten next year. I mean, it's just so out of whack. I'm not used to seeing this. So ACC trying to get Stanford, Cal, and SMU. I mean, this is just so weird and interesting, but it's just the current state of college football. So let's go to the student station. Y'all are rocking and rolling. Shouts out to King Brian. Brian, bring in more Georgia fans. I got to give it up for the dog fans here at Football University. They come in here and they bark. I love it. And I love it. That's why I want Alabama and Georgia to meet each other in Atlanta. But listen, he said Georgia's in our mind, but Alabama's ingrained in yours. You can't stay away from the Alabama channels. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, nobody can actually stay away from Alabama channels because, at the end of the day, college football, most people care about Alabama, because is Alabama going to be successful or not? So, Roll Tide and Rise Up says, as usual. So, it's Alabama versus all y'all, and we're going to end on that. So, like I said, I'm excited about week 1. College football is here. Let's enjoy football all week. We got great slate of matchups coming this week. So, let's enjoy them, and let's come back same time, same channel next week, and let's discuss week 2 recap and get ready for this Texas game. But right now, we got to focus on MTSU and be MTSU, and we can do all our analysis next week. So tune in next week, same channel, same place here at CTS Sports Room with me, former Alabama player at Football University. So enjoy your week. I'll see y'all next week. Have a great weekend of football. Peace.